Patrick Goy here for another edition of Get to Know. Today we get to know Brandon Jacobs. Brandon, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your adventure here to Birmingham. First of all, what do you think of the new ballpark we got?
It's a pretty good facility. It's probably one of the best ones I've ever been in. Dugout's incredible. That's probably the best attributes of this. It's probably the biggest one. So, but you know, it's a nice city, great field, great teammates. It's definitely a good change for me.
Let's take early on in your career. Let's start off actually back in your high school career. You went to Parkview High School, a school that's traditionally known as being a powerhouse in both baseball and football. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you play both baseball and football and play them both at a high level at Parkview. Is that right?
That's right. Played baseball, basketball, and football. Retired from basketball sophomore year, but stuck with football and baseball. And you know, like you said, the tradition up there at Parkview is pretty. It's a powerhouse, so I mean, I was definitely playing against good competition, and I think it definitely made me the player who I am.
Now, of course, with playing football and baseball, eventually you had to make a decision. I know you signed on to Auburn to play football, but eventually you signed to play baseball, and baseball is the path you have chosen. Was there anything that really was the determining factor in sticking with baseball?
Baseball is a sport I've been playing the longest, and just the passion and love I have for the game is just always been there, and you know, it was a pretty tough decision, but you know, I thought it was best that I go ahead and start my professional career.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, if you were going to play football for Auburn, would you have also been able to play baseball with them as well?
That was in talks. I probably honestly would have just played football. You know, dealing with school and, you know, two sports is definitely pays a toll. So don't know what I would have done, but definitely football. So.
Of course, you went originally to the Red Sox organization, got drafted here, or traded here to the White Sox organization. I know probably didn't have too many familiar faces, but one guy you actually went to high school with, Stephen McCray, correct?
Yeah, Stephen was there. I was a freshman. He was a senior. Honestly, had no idea he even pitched until I saw him in Winston-Salem last year. He was a first baseman and a power hitter for us, so it was definitely a change to me. But, you know, it's good knowing people. I've known him for a while and, you know, played against some of these guys the past couple of years. So it was definitely good to come in an atmosphere where I knew a couple different faces.
Tell us a little bit about the change from the White Sox and the Red Sox organization. Anything that stands out when you first got here, things that have done a little bit differently?
Just organizations, I mean, all organizations are pretty much the same. Just dealing with new scenery and different coaching staffs and the way that certain teams go about their business. Other than that, you know, it's just baseball.
You're right. Let's talk a little bit about your numbers. And you got pretty good numbers, start out here at the AA level. You actually had a great year in 2011 in A-ball. I believe you're like Southern League All-Star both halves. Hit with a very high average, nearly 350, I believe. Had a lot of stolen bases as well. Take us through that season and kind of from that 2011 to where we're at today.
It's a good season for me. You know, started out pretty well and finished pretty well, and just not trying to do too much and just going out there and having fun. You know, baseball happens. You get hits some days you don't. Just not trying to do too much, really. And, you know, the next year was okay. And just, you know, I can always grow as a player and coming out here every day to work at certain things and just to get better.
Now, I looked at the scouting report from you, and, of course, they mentioned that you're a running back. But one thing they mentioned was that they didn't expect you to have too much speed, but you actually had a 30 stolen base season. So take me through the process of the power and the speed, and what's your combination like?
As far as the bags, you know, it's not always about speed. Obviously, speed is, you know, you're going to get a lot of bags of speed, but knowing different counts and knowing when to go and getting good jumps that's you know, that's what comes down to base stealing. So, you know, a lot of times you see guys who have a lot of bases, but you don't see them with a lot of speed. It's just about recognition of pitches and things like that. So,
now, to be honest with you, you know, looking at the scouting reports, is that something that you ever look at and try to prove people wrong? Do you minor leaguers, take a look at what the scouts are saying about you and go out there and try to do a little bit more, but not try to do too much in a sense?
To be honest, no. I don't think, you know, many players look at scouting reports just for the fact that you play your game and that's what your game is. And everybody has faults and, you know, things like that to their game. And obviously everyone's trying to work on that. But, you know, just playing your game and doing what you know how to do, that's the only thing you can do out there.
You make some great adjustments here at the AA level. Average went down a little bit coming into this season, but I mean, it looks like you've picked right back up where you were in 2011. Was there any major adjustments that you could talk about that you made at the plate?
Just not trying to do too much and getting my pitch, and pitchers are up there trying to get you out as well. You're trying to get hits, vice versa. But just swinging at your pitches, and hitting their mistakes. That's what hitting comes down to.
A lot of people will say that the AA level is really the make or break level, the hardest level to jump to from A ball to AA. I know you haven't been at AAA yet, so you really can't speak to that. But the change from single A to AA. Are you seeing a change in the pitchers and the way they go about their stuff, or is it really the same as single A?
Honestly, I think at each level, it's pretty much the same. You get guys throwing hard, guys not throwing hard. It just comes down to seeing your pitches, and obviously at the higher levels, you'll see more off speed for strikes, and you just have to make that adjustment. But for the most part, it's just see the ball, hit the ball.
Last question I have for you. You come over here to the White Sox organization. This organization, especially the Barons right now, has a lot of talent in the outfield. What's your initial thoughts kind of coming along and seeing just how much, not necessarily a jam out here, but going to have to play at a high level just to compete with those guys? What was it like? What was your thoughts on that?
It's going to be guys at every level for every team, and it's just going out there and playing your game. I mean, it's kind of out of your hands what anyone else is doing, and as long as you're doing your part, things should work out in the best.
Well, you've definitely had a great season since you came over, and we look for more to continue.
Thank you.